Hi guys, and welcome back to Star Control 2, and having given the Ur-Quan back their Ur-Quan, we're off to claim our prize, the Ur-Quan Super Bomb, which we're hoping to use to destroy the Sumatra. And what? What's going on here? Druuge?
Fancy meeting you here, Captain. We, the appointed representatives of the Crimson Corporation, merely come to obtain the fair and reasonable payment for our goods. We traveled to this region of space years ago to sell the useless Ur-Quan device to the Ur-Quan. We knew even then of the weapon on the surface below us. This was to be our price, but the Ur-Quan used a clever ploy to cheat us. I had convinced the morose Ur-Quan fools that the Ur-Quan was the answer to all of their pitiful dreams. Powers? The Proctor's mind. Will it give us the powers we crave? I assured them that, yes, the Ur-Quan would give them the second sight. The Ur-Quan would allow them to see into the past and the future. The Ur-Quan would slowly imbue each of them with unique secret powers of great significance. The Ur-Quan would ensure that their race's huge potential for greatness would be fulfilled. Then a mistake was made. Enough foolishness. We will take the precursor device from the surface and then leave. Thereafter, I may see fit to bequeath the entire planet to you, Captain, for your invaluable services in the past, provided you meet me. Liar! It is we who are the genuine owners, not you, Captain. Those many years ago, when we offered the Ur-Quan to the Ur-Quan, how they capered and laughed at their good fortune. Fools. Then they begged to hold the device, just for a moment. To close the deal, I permitted this. A grievous mistake. The moment the High Proctor touched the Ur-Quan, her body arched and her eyes rolled back in her head. She began to babble meaningless phrases and howl like a beast. We had expected the Ur-Quan to fall for our sell, to buy the useless device, but never with such gusto. Their self-doubt and lack of clear reason left them vulnerable to our every manipulation. But then, the Proctor's body relaxed, and her eyes slowly closed. When they reopened, her visual orbs shone with a wild and frightening light. This is all we could have dreamed of, and more, she intoned. And now, Druuge, as to your price. I opened my mouth to speak, but before I could utter a word, the Proctor interrupted. Wait! The Ur-Quan feeds your thoughts directly to me. Do not speak. I know that you desire. What could I say? That the Ur-Quan was a farce and could do no such thing? I was stunned in sight. The Proctor continued. You Druuge of the Crimson Corporation desire an object of great antiquity, something of secret function and value. Very well, it shall be done. And with that, we were led to a small vault. The Proctor ceremoniously opened the door of the vault and explained that because we had been of such great service, all of the treasures within were now ours. Inside we found a hodgepodge of ancient and useless artifacts, a glowing rod, an absurd trident, and more such junk. I could see no way to salvage the disastrous situation at that time. But when I heard of you, your travels, and your foolish quest for freedom, I realized that you could be the agent of our justice. And lo, it is so. You have heard our justification. It is valid and unassailable. Now, go, and do not return. No, you will not. We know your soul, young captain. It is no brighter than ours. We acknowledge our greed. We revel in it. You are the dishonest one, hiding your shame in shadows. You fabricate justifications, rationales. In the end, we are just the same. But now you stand in our way. You will not be moved. Therefore, we will add your true name to our ledger of hatred. But first, die, child, die!
You know, he has a point that we're not exactly the brightest heart in the galaxy, but I have a point as well, and that's that I have half a dozen warships ready to beat the crap out of the Druuge. Now, the Chimera are not a good matchup against the Druuge, because the Druuge are able to shoot through the zap stats, but if I can get them into close combat here, the zap stats are going to rip the Druuge apart, and that's basically going to be my line here. I'm going to try and bring them into close range rather than letting the Druuge snipe from orbit. Not saying that I'm going to get the Chimera Avatar's laser on the Druuge that easily, but I'm hoping that the zap stats can take care of it, and if I get even a glancing blow at the laser, it's going to really badly hurt the Druuge ship. Yep, there you go. And Finey had a bit of a point, but I really hate the Druuge, and I don't think that anyone is going to deny me just this little pleasure of blowing all their marauders out of the sky. It's just amazing how there goes another one. And it's amazing how the Druuge, out of all the races in the game, stand out as the most evil one, really. Aside from maybe the Dinyari, I suppose, but the Dinyari aren't really raced into anything. Unfortunately, I have lost an avatar here. And as I said, the Chimera aren't really a great matchup. I think that a Nemesis would be probably a better matchup, because as long as I can avoid the Druuge aren't really going to be able to fight that well against me. But then again, the Marines can potentially not be that great against the Druuge, because the Druuge can use their cannon as sort of a recoil to try and get away from the Marines. I try a Chimera trick here, which is to tractor beam the ship into the planet, and it kind of worked in a roundabout way. And burn! There we go. And that's the last of the Druuge ships, and aside from me maybe wanting to go into Druuge space to just beat the hell out of them for the sake of it, because I really don't like them, that's the last we're going to see of the Druuge for this game. And now I'm going to send my ship down to the planet to pick up my super bomb. Awesome, back home we go. And it's time to find out what the guys at the base say about the super bomb, and also be introduced to a couple of new allies.
I am at your disposal, Captain. Before we go on, I have something important to tell you. A race of plant creatures called the Supox have arrived in your absence, Captain. They offered use of their ship designs and will supply you as many starship captains as we require. I, of course, accepted their offer immediately. Also, a small contingent of Utwig has visited. After spending a few days setting up our fabricators to build their Jugger starships and providing us with a few capable commanders, they departed. Captain, if you continue to build such strong alliances, we will surely win our battle against the Ur-Quan. The analysis reads as follows. Subject, Utwig bomb device. Data, analysis has yielded little information about this device, largely because of our technicians' unwillingness to open it or even remove the bomb from your ship. That aside, here's what we know so far. The device is correctly defined as a bomb, one of enormous destructive potential, but it's not of Utwig origin. Nothing about it relates to the technology we see in the Jugger ship. We believe it to be of late precursor origin, though it somewhat resembles certain Chenjesu technology. Its original function? Probably a planeteering tool for dispersing unwanted moons. Summary? Unless there's a strong reason to do otherwise, do not activate this device. Leave it alone. Any experimentation should be conducted at least 12 astronomical units from this starbase, and preferably a bit further. That's the end of our scientist's report. Blow up an Ur-Quan for me, Captain.
Maybe if I experimented with it near the Druuge's home world, the commander would be a bit more supportive. Sorry. But anyway, let's introduce you to the new ships. And it's the Utwig Jugger, and this ship is amazing. Its firepower is actually more than a lot of people think. It can dish out firepower quite quickly, but the biggest thing going in its favour, it is almost indestructible, and we'll see it in action soon. Anyway, see you next time, guys.